Greetings everybody, Maximus here. I hope you're all doing well, wherever you may be, all around this great big world of ours. First, I want to say to my loyal subscribers, I know I've been spending a lot of time on the Texas Air Show crash in the past few days, but rest assured there is some great other content on the way. From 787 Dreamliner news to how the Chinese stole technology from Airbus and Boeing to build their Comac, and much, much more. But the response to the tragedy in Dallas, especially regarding the loss of one of the few remaining B-17s in the world, has been truly overwhelming. But in just 2 days here on the channel, the subject has seen almost 1 million views, and we've gained over 1,000 new subscribers who may never have heard about Maximus Aviation before. So in honor of that, I came across some fantastic footage of better times from May and July of this year, of the Commemorative Air Force's B-17 up close and really personal. And for some, it may be their only chance to get a view of this mighty fighting fortress that won World War II for the Allies. I know for me personally it was. I've never had the chance to see this magnificent aircraft in person, and I've been around for a little while. But the crew in these videos are also the same crew that were lost in Dallas. And there's even a great interview with Kevin Michaels, who sadly was also lost, as he talks about the plane they named the Texas Raiders and its history. So with that, I'm just gonna shut up and let you see this awesome B-17 fighting fortress up close and personal in her prime. And also listen to the crew tell you about it in their own words. And also rest assured there is no crash footage in this video, just all good memories. And like I said, please look forward to more great Maximus Aviation content coming later this week. But for now, enjoy the memories and remember the victims. And I'll see you next time. This is Maximus.
If you get an opportunity to see this aircraft, walk through it, if you get an opportunity to take a ride in it, this will change your life. This aircraft is a B-17G Flying Fortress. This was actually one of the very last ones that come off the production line. There were 12,731 of these that were built. At the end of the war, of course, it was completely obsolete and we didn't have need for any of them. For some reason, we kept about 200. This is a very expensive aircraft to operate, and we get this from ground tours and living history flight experiences.
I mean, I'd say as an A-10 pilot, you know, we think that we're flying a very iconic airplane. You know, it's been around for a while. It's got a very visible image, very recognizable airframe. But then you compare it to something like the B-17, which, you know, the A-10 doesn't even touch in terms of how famous it is. I mean, it helped liberate an entire continent. My grandfather flew the B-17 in World War II. And I mean, even just walking up to the airplane and going through the entire flight and coming back, you know, I felt like I got a little ounce of appreciation to experience what he had back in the day. To be a part of just a little bit of that experience was very, very cool. You know, I got to think about my grandfather a lot, and you know, there aren't a lot of moments through the daily grind where you fall back on and think about your family, but today he was very present. Not only my grandfather, but flying in, you know, a machine that was built designed for World War II, being so exposed to the elements, but in such a big airplane that has an entire armament in there, you had a real appreciation for the courage and bravery of that generation. And you're kind of thinking to yourself, could I have done this? Could I have flown at 20,000 feet in an unpressurized environment? To know that my grandfather was a part of that, and I got just a small 30-minute window into what that could be like, was an absolute incredible experience and memory that I'll cherish for the rest of my life.
Well, the Commemorative Air Force was started by a bunch of World War II vets that didn't want to see their history just disappear. So they got some old World War II airplanes, and the organization is developed into what it is today. We have about 130, 35 aircraft in the world that fly, and we keep history alive. The Germans nicknamed the B-17 the Porcupine because of all the machine guns on it. And with all the guns on this airplane, there's 12 50 caliber guns on this model that we have, and some models had 13 guns. The point being, you'd try to cover all the spots you could without hitting your own airplane, the fields of fire of the weapons. And then the formations were boxes that they weren't just for looks, they were for weapons effectiveness. Overlapping fields of fire increases the odds that you're going to hit the fighter. The early part of the war, really the key to survival was fighter escort, and the fighters didn't have the range in the early part of the war. They would escort the bombers as far as they could, and then the Germans would jump on them as soon as the German fighters would attack, as soon as our fighters turned back. The key to that problem, and partially, was drop tanks. The P-51 Mustang in particular, with its external fuel tanks, could go the distance all the way to the target, to Germany, and all the way back home with the bombers, and keep them safe. The Texas Raiders B-17 came off the assembly line in July of 1945. Never saw combat. Was actually assigned to the United States Navy until 1955. This is the granddaddy of the AWACS. That's what it was. They sealed up the bomb bay, they put a radome on it, and it served as a Navy patrol airplane. We've had people that had relatives that were killed or served in this same kind of plane. One was a ball turret gunner. We can roll the ball turret around, open the hatch. They put his photograph in the ball turret and took photos of it. That in itself, it tears your heart up. There's a massive amount of history with this airplane. People that know of it, people that had a relative that had something to do with it. And in other warbirds that I've flown, I've known people that had parents that actually built the airplanes. So if you're a history buff, and you never want to forget history. This airplane is one of the reasons that we speak English in America and not German, because we put the Third Reich out of business from a war-making standpoint.
If you get an opportunity to see this aircraft, walk through it, you get an opportunity to take a ride in it, this will change your life. This aircraft is a B-17G Flying Fortress. This was actually one of the very last ones to come off the production line. There were 12,731 of these that were built. At the end of the war, of course, it was completely obsolete, and we didn't have need for any of them. For some reason, we kept about 200. It was a very expensive aircraft to operate, and we get this from ground tours and living history flight experiences.